This is Global Signals by Andrew Drummond. Deep dives and insights about retail and FMCG.
And just to be clear right up front, FMCG is fast-moving consumer goods.
Right. So think about things like packaged food, toiletries, drinks.
Exactly. The items you buy often, the basics.
Yeah. And today we are looking at the U.S. Grocery Retail Trends 2026 report.
Which is fascinating, honestly, because the data shows a massive shift in how we actually buy these basic goods.
It really does. I mean, imagine walking out of your local grocery store. You just spent $200.
Right.
But then you look down and you are only carrying like 2 small bags.
Yeah, we have all felt that recently.
And you are definitely not alone in noticing this.
Yeah.
The report states that between 2019 and 2024, the overall U.S. food-at-home inflation increased by roughly 28%.
Which is a huge jump for just a 5-year period.
And some specific items went much higher than that average. Coffee is up 124%.
Wow.
Yeah, ground beef is up 81%, and eggs are up 77%.
Those are just massive price jumps. And they create a very strange situation for the grocery business as a whole.
Right, because you would think inflation hurts the stores, but the report says high inflation actually gave retail executives record revenue.
Yeah, they looked at their total sales in dollars, on the balance sheet, and they saw record numbers.
So they celebrated.
Exactly. But those numbers are an illusion.
Okay, let's unpack this. An illusion. How is it an illusion if the money is sitting right there in the bank?
Well, the money is there, that is true, but moving physical units matters much more than moving dollars.
Okay.
The high prices hide the truth about a store's actual health, and we can understand this by looking at what the report calls the real growth formula.
Break that formula down for us. What does it look like?
It is a pretty simple equation. It is dollar sales growth minus price inflation.
Okay.
And that equals real volume growth. You have to subtract the inflation to see the real physical volume of goods moving out the doors.
Okay, give us a concrete example of this from the report. How does this actually look in a real store?
Yeah, the report gives a very clear example. Imagine a grocery store generated $100 million in total sales in 2019.
Right.
Now, 5 years later in 2024, that same store generated $121 million.
So on paper, that looks like a great result.
Exactly. It looks like a $21 million win.
Because the cash register took in more paper money.
Right. But we have to apply the formula. Remember, overall food inflation during that same time was 28%.
Ah, okay. I see where this is going.
Because prices went up so much, that store actually needed to hit $128 million just to match its 2019 physical volume.
Wow.
Yeah. So they hit 121 million, but they needed 128 million.
Which means they fell short.
Right. That means they actually saw a 5.5% drop in the physical goods they moved.
Okay, let me try to picture this physically. It is like getting a pay raise, but your rent goes up twice as fast.
That is a good way to look at it.
You hold more paper dollars, but you can buy less. You lost real wealth. For grocery stores, they take in more cash at the front door, but they actually move fewer boxes and cans through the loading dock in the back.
That is exactly the problem. The store lost real unit volume. They lost shelf tonnage. And they lost shopper trips.
But wait, I have to push back here. If they are making the same amount of money, or even a little more, why is it bad to sell fewer boxes of food?
Well,
I mean, the revenue target is met, right?
right, but the report details 3 specific reasons why unit volume drops actually damage supermarkets.
Okay, what is the first one?
First, fixed operating costs remain constant. A grocery store has massive fixed costs. You have to pay for electricity to run the refrigerated display cases.
Yeah.
You have to pay for truck routes to deliver the food. You have to pay store labor to stock the shelves.
And those costs do not change based on what you actually sell.
Exactly. Those costs do not drop just because you sold 10% fewer cans of soup.
Right, the fridge is still running.
Yes. You still have to cool the entire fridge. The overhead costs stay the same, but fewer physical items are paying for those costs.
Okay, I get that fixed costs like electricity stay the same. But if they are buying less physical food to put on the shelves, shouldn't their purchasing costs at least go down?
You would think so. But that brings us to the second reason this hurts a store. Loss of supplier scale.
Supplier scale.
Yeah. If your store moves fewer physical units, it weakens your power to negotiate with your suppliers.
Because you are not buying as much from them.
Right. When you buy less volume, you cannot demand the best prices on future purchasing contracts. You lose your leverage.
So you sell less, and then it actually costs you more to buy the next batch of food.
Yes, it is a bad cycle. And the third reason is margin dilution.
What does that mean?
When unit volume drops, it usually means foot traffic is falling. Think about your own habits. You are probably making fewer trips to the traditional grocery store, right?
Yes, definitely. I try to go less often to save money.
Exactly. When foot traffic falls, high-margin impulse purchases drop much faster than staple items.
Oh, that makes sense.
People still buy basic food, but fewer people are there to grab the expensive bakery items or the deli foods or the floral arrangements.
And those are the moneymakers.
Yeah, those impulse items are the things that bring in actual profit.
Wait, really? But these supermarkets use, cutting-edge inventory algorithms. Are you telling me their software does not catch this drop in physical units?
Well, according to the report, these algorithms are programmed with a blind spot.
How so?
They are designed to hit dollar revenue targets per square foot. So, because of the inflation illusion we just talked about, the software gets confused.
Explain the logic of that algorithm. Why does it fail?
Let us look at branded cereal. The price of a box of cereal might jump from $3.50 to $5.50.
Right.
Because the price is so high, the revenue for that specific cereal shelf stays stable. The algorithm sees the dollar quota being met, so it assumes the product is highly successful.
Even if fewer people are buying it.
Exactly. It completely ignores that the store actually sells 30% fewer boxes.
So the software thinks everything is fine, even though the physical volume is crashing. How does that look on the actual shelf when you walk down the aisle?
It creates dead space. The algorithm overorders expensive, slow-moving items, and it underorders fast-moving items.
Wow.
Yeah, so that expensive box of cereal now occupies 4 feet of prime shelf space. But it is just gathering dust. It is dead space.
Because nobody is buying it at that price.
Right. The report notes that cash comes from cash margin multiplied by the speed of the units selling.
Define cash margin for us, just so we are clear.
It is the actual dollar amount of profit you make on an item. A small profit on an item that sells 100 times a day is much better than a large profit on an item that just sits there for a week.
That makes total sense.
But because traditional stores ignored these physical problems, shoppers changed how and where they spend.
Right, because people did not stop eating. They just moved to different stores. Where did they go?
The retail market split into clear winners and losers between 2019 and 2026. Let us look at the competitor landscape from the source data. First, we have Costco.
Okay.
They saw a massive 85% growth in sales.
85%. How did they manage 85% growth during extreme inflation?
Costco sells groceries in bulk at a low gross margin. They typically cap their gross margin around 11 to 15%.
That's pretty low.
It is, and this gives customers a very low price per pound or per ounce. They attracted high-income households.
High income.
Yeah, we are talking about shoppers making over $100,000. These shoppers have the cash flow to spend $300 in a single trip.
Wow.
They buy pantry staples, meat, and paper products in bulk to get that lower unit price.
But not everyone has $300 to drop on a Tuesday. The report mentions a vulnerability for Costco, right?
Yes. Their vulnerability is exactly that, the high entry price point per visit. If you do not have the cash up front, you cannot shop there, even if it saves money in the long run.
So where do budget-stretched shoppers go if they cannot afford Costco?
Many went to Walmart. Walmart saw 36% growth.
Okay, that is solid.
They became the safe harbor for stretched budgets. They used their massive size and supply chain leverage to force suppliers to justify every single price hike.
So they fought back against the food companies.
Yes. They also expanded their great value private label line. By doing this, Walmart attracted millions of middle-income shoppers who previously bought at standard regional supermarkets.
And what is their vulnerability?
Their main vulnerability is customer service and store experience.
Makes sense. And what about Aldi? You see them everywhere now. The report shows they had high double-digit store expansion.
Aldi runs a very different model. They operate with smaller stores and minimal staff. Over 90% of their products are exclusive private label items.
Ooh, 90%.
Yeah. Aldi focuses on extreme simplicity. For example, a standard supermarket might carry 40 different varieties of olive oil. Aldi carries 2.
Just 2 varieties.
Just 2. This simplicity keeps their overhead costs very low. It allows them to undercut conventional supermarkets by 15 to 30% on basic basket essentials.
But there is a catch.
Right. Their vulnerability is their limited national brand selection. If you want a specific famous brand, you might not find it there.
Okay, so we covered Costco, Walmart, and Aldi. What happened to the normal supermarkets? Places like Kroger.
The report calls conventional grocers like Kroger and regional chains the squeezed middle.
Squeezed middle.
Yeah. Kroger saw a 21% growth. But remember our math from earlier.
Right. If inflation is 28% and you only grow 21%, you're actually shrinking in physical volume. You lost pressure in the pipeline. Why did they shrink?
They acted as passive cost pass-through machines for large consumer goods manufacturers.
Meaning what exactly?
When the large food companies raised prices, the conventional grocers just accepted the hikes. They passed them directly to the shelf tags.
So the shopper just paid the higher price.
Right, and because they did this, they trained their own customers to shop somewhere else for staples. Now they are caught between discounters and premium grocers.
Here's where it gets really interesting. We have the dollar stores. Dollar General and Family Dollar. The report says they have stalled same-store units.
Yes.
Same-store units just means comparing sales for stores that have been open for at least a year. But here's the thing. Dollar stores offer low absolute price points. You see items for $1 to $5. Why are they stalling?
Because it is a unit price trap. The absolute price is low, but the cost per unit of measure is often much higher than at Walmart or Aldi. You might pay $2 for a very small bag of something. That means the cost per ounce is actually very high.
Wait, so even though the item is only $1 or $2, they're actually paying a premium compared to wealthy Costco shoppers. It is an illusion of affordability.
Yes, it is a complete illusion. As extreme inflation squeezed their low-income core customers, those shoppers figured it out.
They realized they were getting a bad deal.
Exactly. They trimmed their overall basket counts, or they consolidated their shopping trips at supercenters to get better value per ounce.
So we know who is losing physical volume, and we know why they are losing it. So how do traditional retailers and food brands fix this? How do they recover this lost physical volume?
Well, the report outlines 5 practical steps. The first step is to audit every SKU by unit velocity, not by dollar revenue.
Just to clarify, a ski is just a stock-keeping unit, a specific product.
Right. Retailers need to group their products into a simple matrix. They need to compare how fast a physical unit sells against its dollar margin.
Break down that matrix for us. How does it work?
There are 4 groups. First, high units, high margin. These are your core drivers. You must protect their shelf space and keep inventory high.
Okay, pretty obvious.
Second, high units, low margin. Things like milk, eggs, and bananas.
But if the margin is low, why keep them?
They are traffic drivers. You have to price these competitively just to get people into the store. You need the foot traffic. Third is low units, high margin. These are niche and specialty items. You just keep a tight, curated selection of these.
And the fourth group?
The fourth group is low units, low margin. This is dead weight. The problem is that the high prices hide the fact that these are dead products.
Because of the inflation illusion.
Exactly. These products mask their sales drops behind 30% price jumps. The report says to eliminate them immediately.
Okay, that handles the inventory audit. What about the actual packages on the shelf?
That is the second practical step. Fix the price pack architecture. Flat price hikes across an entire brand do not work anymore.
So what do you do instead?
You need a 2-front packaging strategy. You need entry-level packs and family value packs.
Explain the strategy behind the 2 sizes.
For entry-level packs, introduce smaller sizes at critical price thresholds. Keep a daily snack under $2 or $3. This keeps budget-conscious shoppers from leaving the category completely. And for the family packs, offer larger bulk packages with an explicit cost per ounce advantage. This allows you to compete directly with club stores like Costco.
Shrinking package sizes make sense for a snack. But what if a budget-stretched shopper cannot even afford the smaller name brand pack for dinner? How do grocers keep them from just walking out the door and driving to Aldi?
That leads perfectly to step 3. Build a true opening price point. They call it an OPP, private label. But the report is very clear. Do not confuse an OPP with a standard private label.
What is the difference?
Stores organize their own brands into 3 tiers. Tier 1 is premium private label. This matches or even exceeds national brand quality.
Okay.
Tier 2 is the core store brand. This is standard quality offered at a 15 to 20% discount compared to national brands.
But Tier 3 is different.
Yes. Tier 3 is the opening price point, or OPP. This brand is designed strictly to be the absolute lowest priced item on the shelf in that category.
So it is bare bones.
Yes. It is an unbeatable entry price for basic survival basket items. We are talking about flour, cooking oil, rice, and canned vegetables. It acts as a safety net.
What happens if a store does not have that safety net?
If your supermarket does not offer an OPP option for those survival basics, price-sensitive shoppers will just split their basket.
Meaning they shop at two places.
Exactly. They will buy their meat at your store, but they will drive to Aldi for their staples. You lose the physical volume.
Big sense. So step 4 is about the suppliers. Stop automatic cost pass-throughs. Supermarkets need to stop just accepting higher prices from food companies.
Right. Category managers must act when input costs go down, when agricultural commodities like corn and wheat cool down, or when freight rates and diesel prices drop. Retailers must renegotiate vendor contracts.
They cannot just let the supplier keep the extra profit.
No, they need to demand that suppliers provide transparent commodity cost breakdowns.
And if the cost went down, the price on the shelf needs to go down.
Exactly. They must adjust shelf retail prices downward on key value items. This signals value to shoppers before competitors do it. Reducing shelf prices on key staple items quickly helps a retailer rebuild that lost unit velocity.
But what if a manufacturer refuses to cooperate? What if the cost of wheat goes down, but the cereal company refuses to lower their wholesale cost?
The report gives you the direct instruction for that. If a manufacturer refuses to cooperate on cooling input costs, reduce their shelf space.
Oh, wow. Just cut them back.
Yeah. Take their facings away and give that prime shelf space to your private label.
You have to actively manage your shelves. You cannot just accept price hikes and pass them to the shopper, or the shopper will leave.
Exactly.
So the 5th and final step is to shift to targeted loyalty pricing.
Supermarkets need to stop running broad promotions, running 20% off sales across an entire aisle waste margin.
Because everyone gets it.
Right. You end up giving discounts to shoppers who would have bought the item anyway at full price.
So what is the alternative?
Instead, use loyalty program data. Deliver personalized discounts on the specific items an individual shopper has stopped buying.
Okay. So we covered the math of the inflation illusion. We looked at the operational blind spots. You saw the winners and losers. And we outlined the 5 steps to fix it. But there is one final long-term warning from the report.
Yes. The report addresses a frequent question about shrinkflation.
Right, shrinkflation.
Shrinkflation is when a company reduces the package size while keeping the price exactly the same. You pay the same amount of money, but you get less product.
Is shrinkflation just a temporary annoyance for shoppers? Why is this so dangerous for retailers in the long run?
It destroys customer trust. Once shoppers realize they're paying the same amount for less product, they feel cheated.
Nobody likes feeling tricked.
Exactly. They actively search for alternatives. This leads to category abandonment. They stop buying that type of food altogether.
Or they buy something else.
Right. They switch brands. Or, most dangerously, they migrate to bulk retailers to make sure they're getting fair value for their money. Shrinkflation pushes people away permanently.
Think about your own shopping trips. Next time you walk down a grocery aisle, look closely at the shelves. Ask yourself, which products are moving fast? Which expensive items are just sitting there gathering dust? Are you looking at real volume, or are you just looking at the inflation illusion? You were listening to Global Signals by Andrew Drummond, deep dives and insights about retail and FMCG.